An essay on the way.
And welcome back to my channel. I'm the Historian. I'm up here with the fifth part of this essay, and this part is gonna be on how could the imperialism occur and its consequences. So let's get to it. How can you choose which element was the most important for the imperialism to occur? The actor? A queen? Queen Victoria must be on top of the list. She would never have been able to put so much territory under her, even if she wanted to, if she didn't have an army as she had. So, and the military power balances, or the idealistic psychosocial climate in her environment. So what about the structure then? The army, for example? The army could not either have done what it did without superior communications and the power balance. Furthermore, an army requires great quantities of gear, which in these quantities demands industrial levels. Furthermore, the army would not have gotten the order for war if not the actor gives the order. So what about idealism then? In the Victorian era, there was a strong feeling of knowing better than all the others. They were more sophisticated, cultivated, and civilized. My own theory, we call it snobbish today. One cannot either forget that the British often saw it as a duty to spread Christianity. These factors together powered the imperialism, absolutely. But without an actor to give the order about invasion, no imperium. Without the army to invade, no imperium. The last explanation then, can that shed some light over this? Materialism. The British Empire had without a doubt a superior military technology against their enemies. This technology in itself could never create an empire. It demands an order from the actor, a structure in the army, and it demands an idealism, a cause to fight for. Nobody goes to war without a reason. But is there another aspect in materialism here? Yes, there is. Economic gain. We saw in the Opium War how far England was willing to go for pure economic gain. Pretty far, if you ask me. This was, according to me, a major driving force behind the imperialism. But your will to get an economic gain in a war doesn't not mean that you get it just because you want to. You must have these parts above to get what you want. But you must also have the most important commodity in the world, information. The more you know about your enemy, about yourself, the terrain. The more you know, the better. So, is there an explanation model that can explain the imperialisms occur? In my point of view, no, it doesn't. None of this can ever explain which one is most important. All of these parts must work in conjunction, together. One part by itself can never get the imperialism to occur, nor can 2 or 3 or 4. Maybe all 4 together did it, but one by itself never could. The very uneven power balance between the enemy and the empire was also a very important factor here. But not even that was enough without the other parts. The consequences of the imperialism. When it comes to language, the colonization of South America had the effect that almost the entire South America today talks Spanish, except for Brazil, that today talks Portuguese. Imperialism also gave similar effects on English today. That is second language to almost the entire world. Another consequences is the in sport. In the most of the British colonies, the classical English sports has become popular, like cricket, tennis, greyhound racing, horse polo, and horse racing. Both Jamaica and India is some of the world's greatest countries in the world today at cricket, and the sport came to these countries with the British. In Hong Kong, horse racing is one of the most popular sports. Clubs of English type is popular in great parts of the world. The explanation of this could be that in India, where cricket was becoming a great sport, the Indians subjugated the local rulers that tried to interest themselves for British culture and thereby went to British events. But why would you do that if you are subjugated? Well, if you play along the enemy and bide your time, you might find about his weaknesses. Quote, by mapping your enemy's movements and yourself being unseen, can we keep our forces together and scatter the enemies? We can then appear united when the enemy is spread out. A whole is pitted against parts of a whole. We are many and the enemy is few. Sun Tzu, The Art of War, 500 before Christ. Another funny effect on the imperialism was on alcoholic beverages. Some beverages that came under this time was or because of imperialism and colonization are, for example, rum that are made on sugarcane from the West India was a better commodity than sugar, as it was more expensive and could give more gain in the whole of the ships. Gin came under industrialism and was made of grain that was too bad to be made for something else. Punch came under imperialism. The British made it from Indian Arak. India Pale Ale, a beer made of ale, in the style of an ale with extra amounts of hops was produced for export from England to India. To make the ale more survive the long journey, they threw down large amounts of hops in the beer to conserve the ale. The Suez Canal was built and is still used today. Even if the area around the African Horn is infested by pirates today, it is still, together with the Panama Canal, one of the most important canals in the world. 1907, General Lieutenant Robert Boden Powell founds the Scout movement. As it is still in existence today, and it is a worldwide movement with many branches in all of the world. Baden Powell's background as a military shines through the Scouts even today, though most of the Scouts might deny it. For example, the Scout suit, the basic idea is obviously collected from the military uniform. Some Scout societies even have a beret as a headpiece. Damn, English can be hard sometimes. That is quite unusual today, outside of the military. It is often claimed that the suit is supposed to remove classes and get everyone to be at the same level. And it's supposed to be a unifying for the core, and you're supposed to be able to recognize each other. Is it only me that thinks of the army when I hear this? Another thing that comes straight from the army is the Scouts' badges. You can get badges for different things. For example, age, country, corps, or troop. Another way to get badges is an evidence for something that you have mastered. Let's say you master a skill for a knife, or a saw, or maybe swimming. If we compare this to military marks, you can get marks for belonging to a unit, or for different skills, like the Ranger arc, that is extremely similar to the Sweden arc that the Scouts use. So what was the purpose of creating the Scouts? Well, I think Baden Powell wanted to create a strong basis for a new generation of soldiers for the army. This I claim is quite obvious when you look at the Scouts' structure and details. A lot has changed with time. Today you can almost get a reprimand if you are wearing camouflage colored pants along with the Scout suit. It is considered to be a violent color. Today, the Scouts is strictly anti-violent oriented. Also, the only thing that the Scouts is not doing that every army in the world is doing is to use violence. This in conjunction with the age difference between the members is the great differences between the army and the scouts. And this was the 5th part of the essay, and in the next part I'm gonna do the decolonization. So sit tight for the next part and see ya. Bye bye.
Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe.